Hi, welcome to the Culture Curators Podcast. We're here to share insights, information, and resources to help you become a more effective salon and business leader. Welcome back, everyone. We're really happy that you've joined us today. We have a really important topic to talk about in our podcast, and that's around compensation. And what I want everyone to truly understand is commission isn't necessarily the total compensation package.
Right. There's much more to it than just that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we want to take a little look at what that looks like. We'll probably broach the subject of commission slightly, but the reality is that everyone's commission structure is highly individual and based on your salon business and something that you should work with your business coach on. And so we may do a few broad strokes on it, but we're not going to get in and tell you specifically what we think you should or should not do with your commission structure and or compensation. These are just our thoughts, our ideas, and we'd love to share them with you.
Yeah, I think, when we're talking about commission salons, stylists and owners are going to get very percentage centric, right? It's a natural part of a commission-based salon. And while, of course, the commission really matters as far as compensation and services, there's other areas that create a full-on compensation package. And when you're rolling this out to either your current team or when you're, onboarding someone new and you're showing them what your compensation package looks like, you have a whole different dynamic where, aside from just talking about the percentage of commission.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're on commission, what I'd like to say is that, one of the things that I think is really important to find out is what is it that they want to gross in a year? When you have someone that you're interviewing, would they be happy grossing $50,000 a year, $30,000 a year, $70,000 a year, whatever it is? And I tend to focus more on that than the actual percentage, because I can help them if they want to gross $50,000, for example. I can help them create a book of maybe $80,000, which will get them to $50,000, or $120,000 book, whatever that is, depending upon your compensation package or your commission structure. I like to take it away from the percentage and actually find out more about what it is that they truly want to gross in the year, and then talk about how I can accomplish that with them. And that really starts to talk about the compensation package, because I believe that part of the compensation package is what you have to offer a potential employee. So one-on-ones actually is part of a compensation package, because I'm going to help you grow and develop, and I'm going to help you reach your goals. That's valuable. Do you put a price tag on it? I don't know if you put a price tag on it, but it really helps them to achieve what it is they said that they wanted to gross.
Yeah, what's your education program looking like? That could be a part of the compensation package, whether it's that you offer 50% cover for external classes outside of the salon, or maybe you have an internal one that they don't have to pay for, where if a stylist was coming in from another salon, they would have to pay for that. So that's another portion of your compensation. Do you have any level of PTO? A lot of states have implemented a mandatory sick paid leave, and some people will look at that as PTO. Some people will keep those two things separate. Are you offering any level of a wellness day like we talked about? Mm-hmm. Is there any level of compensation for that, or do they just not get paid for that? There's a lot of different options. We didn't even get into, insurance or retirement plans yet. So
right.
There's a lot of different options that you can definitely bullet point. And you can come up with like half a sheet of paper that really shows what a full compensation package looks like. And this becomes a different conversation than the let's make a deal. Will you give me X percent if I bring X amount of clients with me? You know what I mean?
Isn't that the truth? And so oftentimes we hear business owners that want to play let's make a deal with a seasoned employee that happens to come into their business. It's like, oh my gosh, she's got 10 years experience, or she or he tells me that they have a full book. So now I want to pay them more because they're going to come in. And first of all, whatever it is that they say they have, I unless you prove it to me and I see them actually in your chair in my business, I don't buy it. I just don't.
Well, I mean, both of our salons, we hired mainly, young and helped them build. But the few that I've ever brought in that say they have clientele, I've literally never once had them actually bring in the amount of clientele that
Exactly.
they said that
Yeah.
they had.
It just
It's not
doesn't
not their
doesn't
fault.
happen.
Not like they lied. It's just sometimes they don't know who's gonna follow. Maybe they lie a little bit. I don't know. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like you don't know necessarily what's gonna come with you. And I think what's really important is to understand that, a compensation package is something that is all encompassing.
Correct.
And it's different. Again, it's another point of difference that you create for your own salon.
Yeah, and when you spoke about PTO and in the fact that most states now, I believe, are mandating it, there may be some that aren't. It's about, are you going to do just the standard PTO, or are you going to raise the bar slightly? We work with a client who actually, their PTO is, I'm going to make this up right now, say 1 week, but she actually gives everybody 10 days. That's a point of difference. That's part of a compensation program. So it's about being creative. It's about looking at what you have, what you're mandated to do, and then of course taking a look at your P&L, your profit and loss statement, and seeing what you can and you can't afford.
Yeah.
Can you offer medical? In medical, I know in my state, you have to pay 50% of the premium for that individual. So if they have themselves and their child or their spouse on there, you're only obligated to pay 50% of the person employed by you. And so that makes a big difference. Can you offer something like an AFLAC? An AFLAC doesn't cost you as the business owner anything. However, it's part of a compensation package for your team, and they get to choose whether or not they have that. Could you offer a simple IRA? Simple IRAs, you match up to 3%. You have the ability to match 1, 2, or 3%, and you get to choose that. Here's the deal. Not everyone's going to do it. Not everyone's going to take you up on medical. Not everyone's going to take you up on dental or AFLAC or a simple IRA. But to be able to say that that's part of your compensation package is really important. And I think that we really have to start focusing on just those words, compensation package versus what are you paying for commission?
Yeah, I think another big benefit of a simple IRA or a 401k is you can choose to create like a tenured point for the employee to qualify for
Yeah.
it. So it starts to create possibly a little bit more kind of like investment in the brand. When I implemented the simple IRA, it was pretty amazing to see the people that did decide to partake from when they started to where they are now, or where they are when they departed, where they were when they departed. Not that I'm looking at all their totals, but it's really amazing to see, it's like forced savings in a way for the future, right?
Right.
It's like you're not feeling 1 to 3%. If you're a 25-year-old kid, 23-year-old kid, you're not thinking about retirement yet, and you're not necessarily thinking about how to plan for it. So if you become the type of brand that helps bring up this conversation for them, I think it also creates a really amazing dynamic. And think about this. If you are helping a 25-year-old person start to take 1 to 3% of their income, and let's say they go to the top and they're doing 3% of their own, and you're matching them at 3%, that's 6% of their income that they're saving every single payroll cycle. And 20 years later, to even 5, 10 years later, they're amazed at the totals that are in that account. So you're creating a whole different dynamic for your business, and you're really running a bona fide business that way, which I think is really important. And I think this is another thing, talking about commission before percentages. What we've seen when it becomes the let's make a deal thing, we've seen businesses that might have, let's say they have 20 employees that are 15 service providers. They might have 7 or 8 different, or maybe more.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Types of commissions. And it's like, that's a bookkeeping and payroll nightmare to manage. And it's just not running like an organized or clean structure. It's kind of doing, like you said, it's hiring more out of desperation and kind of like appeasing, as opposed to having a set system.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. When we look at some of the compensation structures, that's one of the things that we ask when we start working with a new client is, what is your compensation structure? And they always start out really, really, simple. I'll make it up. We pay 48%. And then when we actually get the numbers and we start looking at the profit and loss statement, we start looking at their commission and how high their commission percentage is as a percentage of services brought in, we're like, if you pay 48% commission, why is your payroll running at 56% commission for your service team? And it's like, oh, because I've got so-and-so and she's at 60% and I've got this person is at 58% and I grandfather this in. It's like, what a nightmare is, right? And I don't know how you guys keep track of it, but I love simple. Simple to me works. And so what's your compensation structure? And I'm not saying not to grandfather people in, because that's very important. You have to understand that if you mess with commission percentages, that's your highest risk that you'll ever have in your business. So you take away commission or compensation from a team member, it's a super high risk, and there's a really great opportunity that they're going to walk. And so I am in no way saying that you want to reduce commissions or anything like that. So there is going to be people that are grandfathered in, but eventually you should come down and there should be the exception to the rule of the grandfather and more on the standardized compensation structure. Because honestly, if you overcompensate in your commission structure, you're not able to give a full compensation benefit package.
Right. And if you've listened to our episode that was around raising prices, I think that's a really important portion to incorporate into your compensation package conversation as well. Because the reality is, if you're offering an unlimited earning potential for people, meaning that they can have unlimited price increases as their demand sees fit, you're really creating an amazing dynamic. So as opposed to having the conversation centered around what percentage of commission it is, you have it centered around the fact that you can continue to earn as you grow. So, it changes the dynamic a bit. So if this is what our base level commission is and it's going to stay there moving forward, that's like there's no option or wiggle room up. Well, the great news is that if you're starting at a $60 haircut, you can continue on toward a $120 haircut eventually, right? You can start to really move the needle, and you can be eligible for that price increase, like we said on that episode, up to 3 times a year. So it really, it's changing the paradigm around commission centric and percentage centric, and it's opening up the mind to see, okay, this is really how I can create more income. I will create the most income behind the chair by having the most demand on my time and raising my prices accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. So never underestimate what the value is that you bring to your team in education. And even education, to have a financial person come in. Yeah. That's education. Education is valuable. It's not only about technical skills, it's about education and how to make them a better person. And so really take a look at everything that you offer and put that in writing as a part of your compensation package, because it far exceeds just a commission. And there's a lot. When we do that with our clients, they're pretty amazed actually at how much their compensation package really is. And I'm impressed with some of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's an amazing opportunity to continue to change the way that you think, to help the employees that are on your team shift their thinking a bit, and to really open up the arsenal to. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Culture Curators podcast. Please like, comment, follow, and subscribe.